Okay, picture this. Not that long ago, we were completely used to the standard 5-minute gas fill-up. And now, we are suddenly pumping just massive amounts of pure electricity into a car in, what, 15 minutes? It honestly feels like magic. But behind the scenes, it's not magic. It's a masterpiece of heavy-duty engineering. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be unpacking the hidden world of EV charging infrastructure. Because, this isn't just about some thick cables and heavy plugs. It's really about the highly specialized, kind of unsung hardware that's taming these massive surges of electricity, just to keep the world moving. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The 3 levels of charging. 2. Inside a fast charger. 3. The semiconductor revolution. 4. Beating the heat. And 5. Impacting the grid. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the 3 levels of charging, from overnight to minutes. Before we get to the chargers themselves, we have to define the fundamental science driving the whole show here. Power electronics. By definition, this is the branch of electrical engineering focused on efficiently converting and controlling electrical power. Think of it like a highly advanced traffic controller for electricity. Anytime you need to step up a voltage, change an electrical current, or safely manage how power actually flows into a battery, you are relying on power electronics. It is absolutely the backbone of the EV revolution. Okay, let's dive into this. EV charging is essentially divided into 3 distinct levels, with each step using progressively beefier electronics. Step 1 is level 1. This is just your standard household outlet. It delivers power super slowly, so you'll basically need a full overnight session to get a charge. Step 2, level 2. This uses a dedicated higher power AC circuit, the kind you see at homes or workplaces, and it charges several times faster. But step 3, level 3 is where the heavy lifting happens. Commonly called DC fast charging, this level does something totally different. It completely bypasses the car's onboard charger and delivers direct current straight to the vehicle's battery. That direct high-power connection is exactly why these stations can add serious driving range in a mere 15 to 30 minutes. Moving on to section 2, inside a fast charger, converting grid power to battery power. So, if you were to open up one of these massive fast chargers, the very first crucial component you'd hit is the rectifier. See, the power grid operates on alternating current, or AC, but your car's battery, it strictly demands direct current, DC. The rectifier basically acts as a translator, taking that chaotic incoming grid power and smoothing it out into a format the car can actually use. Once that power is converted to DC, it moves right along to the DC-DC converter. And this is vital because, not all car batteries are the same. They all have uniquely demanding electrical requirements. So this component acts as a highly precise regulator, constantly tweaking the voltage and current to perfectly match exactly what that specific vehicle needs, literally down to the millisecond. And this brilliantly illustrates how a charger isn't just some, dumb pipe dumping electricity. The charger and the car's battery management system are actually constantly talking to each other. They use these high-speed digital handshakes to negotiate safe voltage levels millisecond by millisecond. And before that even reaches the car, power factor correction circuits make sure the charger is drawing power efficiently from the grid, which minimizes any wasted reactive power. But honestly, the communication is the real key here. Because if a station charged too fast or hit the wrong voltage, it could permanently damage the battery or, worse, create a major safety hazard. That constant digital negotiation is how engineers ensure absolute safety while maximizing charging efficiency. Which brings us to section 3, the semiconductor revolution, the materials making it possible. Now, what's really interesting here is the material science itself. For decades, traditional silicon was the absolute gold standard in electronics. But modern fast chargers, they demand a total material revolution. Engineers are increasingly moving to wide-band gap semiconductors, specifically these incredibly advanced materials like silicon carbide and gallium nitride. And here's why that matters. These materials can switch electrical currents way faster and run significantly cooler than old-school silicon. Because of that, engineers can shrink the overall size of the chargers, boost their efficiency, and handle drastically higher power levels than we ever could before. It's a real game changer. All right, section 4, beating the heat, managing massive thermal energy. There is a quote that perfectly sums up the challenge here. Converting high power always generates significant heat that must be removed. You literally cannot bypass this rule of physics. All that intense electrical conversion happening inside the rectifier and the DC-DC converter, it produces a massive, massive amount of extreme heat. And if you don't remove it, the whole system will just melt down and fail. Thermal management is absolutely critical here.
And you can actually feel the solution to this heat problem right in your hand when you plug a car in. To put this in perspective, at the highest power stations, the electrical current is so incredibly intense that if they just used standard copper cables, the wire would literally be too thick and heavy for a normal person to even lift. Seriously, there's no way you're dragging that to your car. So what's the fix? Liquid-cooled cables. They run liquid coolant right through the core of the charging cable itself. This brilliant bit of engineering keeps the wires physically thin and easy to handle, even while they're carrying exceptionally high currents. Let's zoom out for our final main section. Section 5. Impacting the grid. Challenges and futuristic solutions. Think about the macro level for a second. When an entire bank of fast chargers plugs into multiple cars at once, it creates this sudden, massive spike in demand on the local power grid. To combat that strain, stations are now installing buffer batteries on site. They act kind of like reservoirs, slowly absorbing power from the grid all day and then dispensing it rapidly to the cars when things get busy. And it gets even cooler. While standard EVs just consume power, there's this emerging tech called bidirectional charging, or vehicle-to-grid. This actually allows an EV battery to send power back into the grid or even power your house during peak demand. We're literally talking about turning millions of parked cars into a massive, flexible energy storage resource. So, the crucial point is that this infrastructure isn't just sitting still, it's evolving incredibly fast. Looking toward the future, we're talking about wireless EV charging via magnetic resonance, meaning power transfers without any physical cables at all. We're also seeing a massive push towards standardized connectors, which finally eliminates the headache of finding the right plug. And station designs are becoming completely scalable, making it super easy to add new charging bays as demand grows. Because this tech sits right at the cutting-edge intersection of semiconductors, thermal management, and grid interaction, there is currently an absolute massive boom in demand for power electronics engineers. So we've explored the massive amounts of highly regulated, liquid-cooled power being pushed through these fast chargers in mere minutes. But that leaves us with one really compelling question. What actually receives all this incredibly fast power? What exactly is happening on the other side of that plug? Well, that is exactly what we are going to dive into next time as we look inside the vehicles themselves to uncover the secrets of solid-state batteries and next-generation chemistries. Until then, thanks for joining this explainer and keep asking questions.